Sorry. Just realized the mic was muted the whole time. Okay, so yesterday we formed some daily resistance. Now, if we want to continue bearish, we're going to have to get below this point over here, which we have, the previous daily low. So now we have this bearish range to trade into, so let's see what ends up happening. Finally broke out of this range. We're in a terrible, terrible range on GJ. How's it, Luke? How you doing? Hope you are well. Yeah, sorry I'm a little bit late, guys, but still in time for London Open. So finally broke out of this GJ range, which is great news. We just need a candle close below this level, more or less. Might come down to this point over here. If you're on the Telegram, this is one of the selling zones which I had marked in. So now we finally got this close below. Structure on the 30-minute at the moment. This is our high. Leg that created it. Close below there. So at the moment we're bearish. Yeah, bearish on the 30-minute. So it's a 2v2 bias. But I'm more than happy to just wait. We've created this low now. We've been in this range for ages. I actually put this on the Telegram group last night, and when I woke up this morning, we were still in that range, which I had marked out. So it was looking something like that. So hopefully London Open will continue bearish. That'll be ideal. This candle opened an hour and 40 ago, so quite a fresh 4-hour candle. The one that broke out of the range. So yeah, just a matter of waiting. Let me do gold as well. Gold also started pushing a little bit bullish, which is nice to see. You know, we're finally getting out of these areas of consolidation which we had. Gold makes sense to continue bullish though, because we have this weekly support, which we were on. So at this level over here, and now we closed on that, so let's see. Might be able to. Yesterday formed some support. We have really broke the high of yesterday's candle. Sells on gold just terrible from this point. See what we have on the 4-hour. We're coming up to this area over here. Another resistance area. Decently strong as well because it's 4-hour resistance. But you see we've created this bottom wick on this new 4-hour, so if we break the highs we can continue up. Just keeping an eye out for GJ, because you can see we're retesting the zone here. So we might get a continuation bearish, especially during London Open. Finally out of the range. We don't want to close back in the range. Although if we do close back in the range, there's a very good chance that we're going to continue up to the top of the range. So yeah, just a waiting game at the moment. Gold, I mean, ideally if you're going to play it safe on gold, wait till we're above 1815.6 around there. Because look at the trading range above that area, it's so much more. The current trading range which we have, we're going to need to break above 1794.64. But on gold, what I'm planning on doing is just waiting for a huge move to be made. So either a big push up or a big push down, and then from there on we have our areas to trade into. Because when are we consolidating and price action's really bad, you just want to wait for a big move. So to either create a high or low, and then you let the market kind of establish its own bias. News-wise today, yeah, we got job openings for USD. Pretty high impact. And then all this GJ stuff, pretty chilled. Nothing too serious. So just gonna wait and see. Very slow morning. Also forming some fresh supports at these levels over here. So if we do close below them, then we can maybe look for some sells down to about here. But let's just wait and see. I'm just waiting at the moment. Don't want to trade into any of this stuff on the left here on gold. This is far from ideal. Let's just wait for a close above 1794. Then we got, so say we get a close above this level, we got all this range to trade into, which on the 1 hour is looking pretty good. On the 30 minutes isn't the greatest. GJ, yeah, GJ's coming back up into the range. And if that's the case, and we respect this candle's low and close back up in the range, the next 30 minute has a really good chance of wicking down and continuing back up to the top of range, because basically that's a 30-minute fake out. So I'll probably be buying if that ends up happening. So let's... I was looking for some continuation sells if we break this low, but we seem to be respecting it. So let's just wait. Nothing too interesting happening on GJ. So we also need to remember that if we're going to be trading with the trend at the moment, by forming this, we're continuing with that bearish trend. So we just want to be on the right side of the trend, on the right side of market structure. Because again, we had our high up here, point which created the high, new low, point which created the low, now a new low, so point which created the low. So we're only going to be bullish above here. That's why the buys above this area make a lot of sense. So at the moment, bearish market structure on the 30 minute, but the way that this is setting up is it's looking a bit like a fake out. If you guys have any charts, please do send them in. I'm just waiting for something to happen. Just gotta wait for candle close at this point. Nothing too exciting. Trading being the waiting game that it is right now. So yeah, if you guys also have any questions, let me know. Try to answer them as best as I can. Gold at the moment, definitely potential buys above here. And this tool never works. Let's see, potential. Yeah, we're gonna say that. Potential buys about 7094.64. And I don't know, sells below that level could be not a terrible idea, but could be a little bit counter trend. So we just need to be careful with that, because the 1 hour time frame is certainly bullish in the current trend, because we created this new high. So it's going to be below, only below this level down here, that we flip structure back to bearish. But what would be nice if we get this fake out on GJ. So you see we close below the range. Now if we close back in the range, we can maybe take a buy entry above here in the hopes that we're going to retest the top of the range. So pretty good probability for that to play out. So just need to wait and see. Just a little bit of patience. Can you analyze your CAD? Sure. We got 10 minutes before we close. Okay, I'll do a top-down analysis for you. Okay, so weekly. We're looking not at current weekly, but previous weekly, because only mid-afternoon on a Wednesday you start looking at the current weekly. So previous weekly is obviously bullish, and that gives us our market structure on the weekly, which is going to be bullish. Just mark out the highs and the lows, drop down to the daily. We had this support level on the daily, which now we've closed below yesterday, and we have the support level coming up here, so we can almost expect to test that support level. Current structure on the daily is bullish as well until below this point. So let's just carry on checking. You can see though we had a very bearish day yesterday. So just gonna bring this down on the 4 hour. Just looking for clean areas to trade into. You can see this was an amazing sell entry on the 4 hour. We had a close below the support, a wick up, and then a break of the low, and then, you know, we cleared all this traffic. The one thing is, you can see this was a previous resistance level. It's now being used as a support level. We've created that support. So the structure on the 4 hour, however, is currently bearish. So at the moment we have 2 bullish, 1 bearish, and we have formed this 4 hour support down here, which if you mark this out, you see it's on the previous level of resistance. And then let's drop down. Don't really look at the 1 hour too much. I mean, the lower time frame structure on here is very bearish, but it's kind of like a 2v2 at the moment, if that makes sense. So buys into these clean areas are going to be quite simple. If you wait for this resistance to form over here, you got go buy opportunities, and I'd look for sells below this level over here, because you got this clean range to trade into, and here you got this clean range to buy into. So this is what I'll be looking at. Wait for this range to establish itself, and then you can either buy below buy above this level or sell below that level. Quite easy. 2v2 market structure as well, so buys and sells both make sense. So this is what I would be looking at. And the reason these are trading zones, so this over here, what you can do is you can always mark this out in green if you want to, so that you know, okay, in that area you'll actively be looking for trades, buys, and in this area you're actively looking for sells. What makes these valid trading areas or trading zones is you got these clean candles to the left. So, you know, it's not choppy price action at all. It should be quite easy to catch those sorts of moves, as you can see here. So I hope that helped out. I'd look for buys above here, sells below here. If that makes sense, I hope it does. And I mean, these are amazing ranges as well. So if you look at this range, the bottom 19 pips, it's good range. And obviously up here we have 32 pips. Just like gotta wait for either a trend to establish itself. So if you can see, okay, we're creating higher highs, higher lows, there's a good chance that we're going to correct this whole move that we did down. But if we're not creating clean moves, it's going to be a little bit tougher. So yeah, just wait for something to establish itself and some nice candle formations as well.
Shout out to all you wonderful creators for coming to Upbeat for your music.
But yeah, I hope that helped.
And help support us artists by upgrading to Upbeat Premium now.
Let me check out GJ. Yeah, GJ is looking nice right now. If we close like this, that'll be a great fake out. Only thing I'm a little bit worried about is the current daily situation, because we've broken this daily low after forming resistance. So just need to be a little bit wary of that. So see, the 1 hour might be respecting the supports as well. So yeah, I think buys could definitely be on the cards here, boys. Maybe above this level over here. So what I'm looking at is this candle to close as is. As you can see, we respected the previous candle's low over there. And we have all this clear range to trade into over here. So that provides us already with two nice confluences. Our overall structure is 2v2. So it's buyers and sellers. It's kind of like equal structure. So with that, we just need we can take buys or sells, or if you want to play it safe, you can wait for it to flip to a 3v1. But for that, then you're going to miss these sorts of moves. So at the moment, this idea that I have right now is just going to be a pure fake out, taking a fake out trade. So I want this to close back in the range, the next candle to wick down and push up. And with the next candle being a very high volume candle usually, we should continue. So let's just wait and see. No rush. We just want to see the exact candle formations which we want to see. Not try and force it. Yeah, news-wise, not a lot happening today, especially on GJ. We had all this like light impact news, so that's not an issue. We have some heavy impact news on CAD and USD, so gold's definitely going to be affected by that later. And other than that, yeah, let's just wait and see. Gold is at the moment in a terrible place, so hopefully what this fundamental news will do is give us a massive push on gold, or establish basically a bias, let the market do that, and then we'll continue in that direction. So yeah, at the moment all I'm looking for in gold is these potential buys above this point over here, and then possible sells below this area into this clean range, but very risky. GJ is looking a lot better. So we're just gonna wait and see. Proper waiting game this. But it is looking like a really good setup. So if you guys are interested in possibly taking some GJ buys, I'm going to be looking for GJ buys above here. This level right here. Probably about a pip or so above it. But what I want to see first is obviously the candle wick down and then push up. So let's see. Yeah, it's probably going to be about 150, 229, around there. That sort of area. But we don't wanna force it. We want to see exactly what we want to see. Does. I'm glad that did manage to help out a little bit. You can see that the dollar is losing a little bit of strength, or at least it did over the last night. That's why gold's moving up a little bit. It's always like that. That's why sometimes look at the dollar index is going to help with how you trade gold. Because if the dollar is gaining or losing strength, it's going to directly affect gold, because gold is based on the dollar, gold value. But yeah, this is looking really good. 24 seconds. 24 seconds until we have our London open. A little bit worried about the trend, the overall market structure. Yeah, we wanted to give us a stop loss level, so we just need to be patient. Because if it just wicked up, our stop loss is going to have to be below this candle, which is going to be a massive stop loss. 20 pips. Whereas this at least gives us a smaller level. Just wait for it to push up a little bit more. Okay, now just gonna have to wait and see. I'll be managing risk obviously if this doesn't go as planned. The stop loss a little bit lower. needs to push a little bit more. Up about 8 pips at the moment, guys. But if we come back down to entry now, I'll close half of my position. Because we shouldn't get that high up and then reject. Which is exactly what we look to be doing right now. I was kind of hoping London's just going to push us straight through. Hello, Declan. How you doing, buddy? When are you coming back to Forex, my man? I am in your sticks. I am. Bender December. To be honest, with COVID, I don't know how much of a Bender December it's gonna be, bro. Let's hope for the best, though. I want to hear some stories after this December about you, my man. Jolly with the pure lacquer, bro. But you have COVID. Okay, we just need a little bit more of a push. Yeah, makes sense. Just waiting for this to push a little bit higher. Probably gonna secure profits just now. I had 10 pips on the table, but I left it to run a little bit. Might regret it. See what this 5 money does. Taking its time, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, that's better. I don't know what tunes are playing here. They're not the greatest.
There. This is Josh from AK. I hope you're enjoying my music and it's helping to inspire your content. To get all of my tracks and more amazing music on a beat, click to upgrade to premium now.
Okay, we need to push a little bit more, and then I'll be securing. Yeah, that's a bit better. Much better, much better. Okay, I'll secure some profits around there. Leave a runner in. Dex my magic keys is broken at the moment, so beautiful, beautiful. So if anyone did get this trade, well done. Super simple, guys. What's up, Captain Fab? How you doing? New here? Welcome to the channel. Just took a GJ trade. Still got my runner in. Stop loss at break even. And hopefully we can push up to about the top of this range over here. That's what we're hoping for. My runner gets stopped out at this point, I don't mind. I've already secured 80%. I opened a 20 lot and I secured 18 of those lots. So about 90% actually, yeah. But we just gotta look at why this ended up happening. So if you, I'll do a full video breakdown later, but if you look at this candle, we respected the low of the previous candle. We also had a range established. We broke outside, closed outside of the range. The very next candle closed back in the range. So that means that there's a very good chance that we're gonna test the top of the range. This is called a fake out. That, along with the clean candles that we had to the left, and then this candle wicking down, and then breaking the high, and we're in London open, you know, a lot of probabilities on our side. And it ended up being, you know, a really, really clean trade. No drawdown whatsoever. And at the moment, yeah, runners in. Yeah, fake out decks, exactly. You can see we had this range established. Look at the clear candles to the left if we're going to continue bearish. Closed outside the range, which had been like this for a couple of days. Not a couple of days, most of yesterday, to be honest. Yeah, 7th and the 8th. And then we had this close outside, close back in, and now we're probably going to retest the top of the range, to be honest with you. Good job. Easy trade. Gold is still being gold at the moment. Hasn't quite made its mind up. Congrats, thanks very much. I mean, if I get a good amount out of this run, I'm definitely not going to take another trade for today. I don't think I'm going to be able to trade New York session today, but I will definitely be posting a breakdown video of this trade. Gold, yeah, not even worth trying to trade at this point. Current levels on gold, terrible. Don't want anything to do with it. Struggling in the middle of the range here, so what we might end up doing is wicking down on the next candle, which is still in another 15 minutes, and then continuing bullish. How's it, David? How are you doing? Just missed a GJ buy. Very, very simple. So now what we can be looking for buy continuations, guys, is we created this new low, which gives us an earlier point where structure is going to transition bullish. So structure will transition bullish above this point. So what we can kind of look for is something, this is what it's currently looking like. So if we make our way back up to the top here, flip structure, then we can slowly start making our way back up to the top here, correct some of this move down, which we had on the 7th, yeah. So on Monday, which was Tuesday, yesterday. So that's if we're going to look for buy continuation. Otherwise, what we could do is reject the middle of this range if we're not going to retest the top of the range. And then this could just basically be something like this. And then we retest the low and we continue bullish, bearish. Because then we still have that structure on the 30 minutes in our favor. But right now, just waiting for this runner to make me some more money. Which it seems to be struggling to do. Could just be getting a wick down in this 5 minutes, and then if the next 5 minute wick's down as well, which will be the beginning of the new 15 minute, then we probably gonna end up getting stopped out our runner. But by that time we've already secured most of our position. So I secured 90%, 18 pips, 18 lots. I have 2 lots currently left in. So let's see what this new 15 minute candle does. Not the ideal 15 minute candle close, to be honest, if we want this runner to continue. But happy with the initial push. Play. Another added confidence was we formed some minor resistance once we had confirmed that there was a fake out, or once we had closed back in the range, and then the next candle went on and broke this minor resistance and we continued bullish. And if you had taken from the, I normally wait for about a pip or two above the fake out candle, or normally for any entry above or below the candle low or high. So if you had taken it early on, it would have been about 12, 13 pips. So again, this was like a nice little GJ scalp buy based on the fake out idea. New 15 minute candle creating this low. So yeah, runner stopped out of break even, but initial position was fine. Just gonna quickly post that. Probably just retracing. Yeah, I mean, it made sense that that new 50 makes a low wick and then continues pushing. I mean, honestly, retesting the top of the range is still an option. Just gotta see what we get. Okay, gold's finally making some moves. So we're coming down on gold. Not too worried about it though. Wouldn't be taking any entries. We try to continue up on GJ, so let's see what ends up happening. We need to form some minor support if we do want to continue bullish. But at the moment we're just forming resistance. Well, minor level resistance. And this new 15-minute candle hasn't quite decided what's happening. So if we're going to continue bearish on gold, there's a good chance we're going to continue bullish on GJ because of that negative correlation. But you see, GJ could just be rejecting the middle of this range, and then we can continue the bearish momentum which we had yesterday, and then we range, and then obviously had this little fake out. So we just got to wait. If we are going to look for sells, I'm going to look for something like this. Obviously already taken the buys, but I want to see a new low created, come back up to an area of possible support, turn that into resistance, so it's kind of like a break and retest, and then some minor support to form, and then we can continue down back to lows and create new lows even. So something along those lines. That's for the sells. For the buys, I've already been through, but I'll do it again. Want to see, because we faked out here, come about this level of transition structure, and then we can start making our way back up to the tops, the higher levels here, which we basically had that strong move down. So that's what I'll be looking for with the sells, buys. So at the moment, not much to do on GJ or gold. To be honest, recently gold's market conditions have been terrible. Yesterday I managed to catch a sell on gold, but it wasn't an easy sell at all. It was at... Let me go to a 30-minute time frame. Let's see. What's up, Zeems boy? How you doing? Missed you, my boy. The gold sells yesterday were at this level up here. So I ended up getting the minor ones. Yeah, I just got this tiny little scalp sell down to this level over here. So a few pips. About 12 pips. But the main move happened after that, which was about 50 pips. So yeah. Perfect structural analysis, so. Regarding your membership, is only London session? No, the membership is all day. So London, New York, and it's 24/7 support. So, you know, ever have issues, just send me a message. But so what I like to normally do with the member session is do a private Zoom call for the New York sessions rather than a YouTube stream. Because it's December, it's, you know, a lot more people are taking time off. Took any trades? Yep. Took this GJ buy. You must go back in the stream and check it out. Based on a fake out of this range. So we close below and then close back in the range. Took the buy at the break of this high because we also respected the low of the previous candle. Which, like I was telling you last night, seems is it's a good indication that you're respecting, because you're respecting the low. That means that now, and you're closing strong bullish, that there's much more buyers in the market than there are sellers. So by respecting the low and closing back in the range, it indicated that there's a good chance that we can retest the top of the range, and we had this really good trading range to trade into. So yeah, took GJ buys, secured at around 11 pips, 90%, and then my runner got stopped out. But if I'd taken a little earlier entry, you'll see the idea of faking out of a range and then back into a range and then retesting the top or the bottom, so in this case we'll probably retest the top, is like a very important thing to remember and a very important thing to know. Because there's a good chance that we're going to come back up to these levels. Up here. And it was amazing range to trade into. 27 pips. Gold is the main problem at the moment though. If you look at this, it's not offering any opportunities. 27 pips, yeah. A really, really good range. But only I took it secured at about 11. Okay, what have I done here? Okay. But just look at the dollar index. With the dollar, it was weakening the whole of last night. So that's why we had this strong push on gold. You can see the value of gold went up because the dollar weakened. So that's why there's that correlation between the dollar index and gold. So if you are focusing on mainly trading gold, learn how to read the dollar index properly, and it's going to help you out a lot. Because, you know, obviously it's directly correlated because gold gets its value from the dollar basically strengthening or weakening. So if you can read and understand the way that the dollar index works, it's going to help you a lot with gold. Will the stream still happen next year? The London streams are going to happen forever, but the afternoon sessions are not, the stream wise. So the afternoon sessions will only be for members starting from probably the 1st of January. I would be probably streaming twice a day, but it's December and the market volume is not the greatest at the moment, as you can see on gold. Normally this thing's moving properly, and at the moment it's terrible. At least GJ provided us with a pretty good move this morning. If there's any other pairs or anything like that you guys want me to check out for you, please send it to me, or tell me, or send me a chart, a trading view chart, if you want me to assess like your analysis or things like that, because that's usually very helpful. I remember when I was starting out in trading and I was marking out my own zones, I could always see when someone else marked out their zones, okay, that's exactly what to do. But when you start out in trading and you mark your own zones, it's nice to get some feedback and that sort of thing. It makes a big difference. So you can see this 30-minute close strong bullish. The hourly is coming back up as well. Another confirmation for this trade, guys, was we had obviously the zone marked out. This was the bottom of our range. You can see how many rejection wicks we had just here. Look how choppy this price action is. And we still respected that. We didn't close below it. We just had this rejection. Check GU, yeah, sure. Let's go back to this. Okay. Looks like we've created our top wick on the weekly time frame. So if we do come down and break this weekly low, there's a good chance that we're gonna continue, because it's very weak at the moment. We formed some daily resistance yesterday, but yeah, at a daily support level as well, which can't quite decide whether it wants to continue or not. 4 hour created it low here. If we form resistance here, that's kind of a support turn resistance, because you can see here we had the support level, we're respecting that turn resistance. So maybe wait for this 4 hour to close. Now we can start marking out some zones on the hourly. I'll just be a bit, this price action is not nice. I was looking at this pair with Zems last night and the price action was very choppy. See, on the 30-minute this isn't going to be too clean at all. You have to worry about these rejection wicks up here, those two. Range wise, we have, yeah, it's not a huge amount of range to trade into either. So I'd be a little bit cautious about trading GU at the moment. Because buys and sells, yeah, price actions are looking great. Kind of stuck in this 30-minute range as well. Just a bunch of rejection wicks. Structure-wise, I think it's quite bearish, isn't it? So we have bearish previous weekly, daily. Yeah, we've created this low over here. This is the point that created the low, so bearish on the daily. 4 hour. By technicals, this is actually our low. So only bullish about this point over here, so bearish on that as well. And 30 minutes low point which created the low, bearish. So I mean my structural bias, market structure bias on GU is bearish for sure. but the selling range for me personally just isn't there. Terrible price action. Okay, GJ is continuing bullish, which is great. Exactly what we wanted. Got that new wick down on the 30. And if you guys go back in the stream, you'll see where I called this exact entry and the TP levels and everything. And the reasoning for the trade. Fake out, and then there was a bunch of other confluences there as well. Quite a hard trade if you don't know what fake outs are and that sort of thing, and lower time frame fake outs. But if you know what's happening here, this was a very straightforward trade. GJ pushing nice, yeah. It's the like a range theory. But yeah, GU, I'd be looking for potential sells below this level if we can break out of this. Hold on. Potential sells below this level. Obviously, you don't have the range to really do it, so I wouldn't look for sells here. Then you got some clean candles here. Also, not a good amount of range. Buys here, but it's such, you know, counter trend trading. So just be careful with that. Price action wise, GU is in a terrible, terrible spot right now. Yeah, beautiful on GJ. Absolutely amazing. Gold might come down. It's only 14 pips really. But you can see here, we got to close below the body resistance levels. Over here, this is basically your retest. So now if you break the low here, you can expect a continuation down into this level over here. Yeah, David, honestly, I'd suggest not touching GU if it's going to stay like this. Rather look at GJ or gold. Even gold's terrible though, to be honest with you. But like I said on gold, okay, the price action is cleaner than on GU and there's more range to trade into. So what, yeah, it sells below this level right here would definitely have been on, like I just said just now, down to this area over about here, because now you've had this retest. But buy trade today was GJ. As you can see, incredible. Doesn't get much cleaner than that. Yeah, so this would have been a tight B on gold, but my only problem with gold is I like to see 20 pips of range, and this had, you know, 15 pips of range. So gold, you always want more range because the spreads are bigger. And it's a little bit counter trend because our 1 hour is bullish at the moment. So you just need to be careful. Are you still in GJ? No, out of GJ. Secured profits. And got out of there. But yeah, you can see this was amazing. To be honest, I did not by choice I got out of there. My runner got stopped out. As you can see here, this was my entry and this new 15-minute candle screwed me over big time. So what the initial entry had looked like was, I'll get my stop loss, if it would let me. Let me just place a new position thing here. So it was like this. And then my stop loss was below this candle. What's up, Ducks? How you doing, mate? So yeah, this wasn't an easy trade, but if you know how to trade a fake out, this was one of the easiest trades you'll ever see. The only thing which would have, you know, cost a few people is this little wick, which stopped my run out. But at least I'd secured my position by then. Most of my position. Right here. There. So yeah, still looking for buys if we flip structure above 155.6, around that level, 155.7. But what we can wait for is maybe, because we're going to have this strong bullish push now, there's going to be a little bit of exhaustion. You'll see candles will start getting a little bit smaller. And then we're going to get something like this, like a little pullback, maybe a retest of this zone, and then a continuation bullish, and then you can kind of start seeing things like this. Could we hold to 157.100 on GJ? Yeah, it's not out the picture, but you just got to be aware of these resistance levels. Like, look how strong this range is. This range is no joke, because you can see the amount of times we rejected the bottom of it. Here we faked out of it, and you can see the amount of times you rejected the top of it as well. So we just got to be wary of obviously the levels. 157.100 is doable, because if we have faked out here and now close above this level, there's a good chance we're going to continue bullish. And like I said, correct this move which we had yesterday. But we just need to be a little bit patient for that. So if you are currently at the GJ buy, if you're up at least 10 to 15 pips, I would suggest obviously securing. Depending on what your entry is, maybe start shifting your stop loss, trail your stop loss a little bit. Because you don't want to, if you now have profits on the table, you don't want to throw those away. So yeah, just be wary of that. Are you more of a scalper? I day trade, so sometimes I'll take scalp positions, sometimes I'll take long positions. To be honest, if this hadn't stopped me out, then, you know, that's more of a longer holding position. But yeah, I look for anything above anything above 12 pips, I'll be happy with. And then obviously I look for more than that, but anything above 12 pips is good. I trade such a big lot size that 12 pips gives me exactly what I need, you know? And no one's ever complained about 12 pips a day. If every trade in the world got 12 pips a day, it would be a completely different story. The problem comes when people try set these unrealistic targets. So let's say that, for example, they take a buy at this position here, and they want to see us, you know, let's say go back up to 151.700 around these levels, and then their stop loss is going to be like down here as well. They're going to be holding a lot of drawdown because they're trying to get these stupid results of like 100 pips, whatever, 80 pips, 90 pips. But if you just secure throughout the month every day, like 10 pips a day, 20 pips a day, it's going to add up to a lot more than, you know, trying to make these massive moves and then you end up losing huge amounts. So yeah, I've always been a believer in, you know, slow and steady, slow and consistent. If you make 1% on your account today, that theory. And I know it's a lot easier to say that with bigger lot sizes, because people who trade smaller lot sizes, when they only make 12 pips profit, it's not obviously a substantial amount for them, or it's not enough for them, because everyone has a different value of enough. So you got to take that into consideration as well, of course. But for me, for my lot size, for how I trade, you know, 12 or more pips is perfect. That's how I look at it. I never ever try, you know, get 100 pips. Double risk to reward is 4 to 1. Yeah, 4 to 1 is really good risk to reward. But you see, I think setting goals is certainly important. So 200 pips a week is that's a good goal. You know, if people are making 200 pips a week, obviously that means they're doing something right, because that means they're making like upwards of 40 pips a day. So if you're consistently doing 200 pips a week, you're doing really well. But to keep that up consistently, you got to think about it that way. Risk to reward, when you know how to manage risk, isn't nearly as important. So you'll look at risk to reward, and let's say, for example, my risk on this trade was, let's see here, 6 pips. That's how big my stop loss was. I know for a fact that if price did start coming down, my risk was never going to be 6 pips. I was always going to cut my position short. That's why if you do go look at all my losses or all of my trading history on the Instagram, you'll see the losses are so much smaller than the wins, because I manage trades properly. I'm not like one of those traders who will go into a trade, take profit and a stop loss, and whichever one it hits, you know. That's that. So not like that at all. I like to manage a trade. I never leave a trade, because that's when things start getting risky, and that's when you start risking proper profits and that sort of thing. So I mean, yeah, if you look at it risk to reward wise, this was like a 3, you know, not bad. But I don't really look at trades that way. I have an amount of pips which I want to get minimum, and if the trading range doesn't allow for that, which is why I always measure my trading range. So like this is a good example. If the tool will work. So this is 26 pips of clean candles. So for me, this is a valid trading range. Can I send my GJ analysis? Yeah, send it in. Send it on the Telegram, and then I'll bring it up here. If you guys want to join the Telegram, it is in the description. So it's free. Okay, let me check this out. Seems. Okay, so your buying zones are perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for, the buys, but what you want to wait for is obviously the transition. What I also want you to start doing in your charts when you send them is you must send a bias where you say there, so you have weekly, daily, 4 hour, 30 minutes, and then you say bullish, bearish, and then at the end you give it your overall. So let's say it's a 3v1 bullish, you must write there 3v1 bullish. It's just a good way of keeping a mental reminder of what the exact bias is, so you know, are you looking for buys or sells. Otherwise, yeah, there's not really any problems with this. I like that this is not marked out as a trading range, because to trade into those rejection wicks is terrible. Yeah, you just need to be aware if we do come up here of this resistance level over here, and this is, yeah, good support levels. Like I said, when you have big zones like this, if you're in a high volume time, if you get a candle close in the zone and then a wick up and a push down, you can take it kind of like a type B, where it's that break and retest, because you're in the zone and then high volume and you've closed below the body resistance. So yeah, remember, just, I see, yeah, you're saying let me do that. So yeah, put in there your structural bias before any trade. So you want to know if you're bullish or bearish in market structure. That way before, like, so when I start my day, that's the first thing I do is market structure. So I know, okay, before I even mark out my trading zones, am I looking for buys or sells? So yeah, I risk max 2% to my account. Yeah, that's now you see that's a really good way of going about it. You need to have an amount which you're gonna risk that's set out before you even start your day, and not a ridiculous amount. That's why you see people blowing accounts left, right, and center. Is because they're risking 10 to 20% of their account a day per trade. My risk percentage isn't even 2%. I use something called magic keys, which can determine, you can put a system in where it will literally work out your lot size depending on 2%. But my lot size, which I currently use, so I currently use in between a 10 and a 20. That's not 2% of my account per trade. If I have a stop loss, probably less than 15 at most, I would say. But yeah, that's a really good thing to have, is that max percent risk. You need to know that and you need to stick to it. Because as soon as you start shifting that percentage risk and shifting stop loss and things like that, that's when the problems start happening. So you just need to be aware of that. Also, trying to stick to 1 or 2 trades a day and 1 or 2 pairs is the way to, in my opinion, the way to maximize success. Because I think about it, the way you look at, let's say, like a university course or something like that. If you go to university and they tell you you can get your degree by doing 2 courses or 10 courses, you're going to be able to understand the 2 a lot more than you are the 10. So when I see people who trade, you know, 10 pairs, I think, how do you understand that pair? Because it's hard to understand a lot of pairs. So that's why if you choose 1 or 2 pairs, so I only trade GJ and gold, because I know how they work now. I've been trading them for a really long time. It just makes it a lot more sense. You can understand how the pair moves exactly. So that's how you need to think about that. So when people do first join on with me and they say, yeah, I trade, you know, this exotic pair, that exotic pair, I tell them, like, I break it down from the beginning. I say, go back to the basics, choose 1 or 2 pairs. I'm not telling them to choose the pairs I trade, because I think everyone should trade a pair based on their own liking for it. So they must choose their own pair. And if it does happen to be GJ and gold, I'll always suggest, obviously, certain pairs, because some pairs have a lot more volume. You can trade a pair that will have, like UJ, so USD JPY. That thing moves like a snail. So you're going to be in a trade for hours. When you could, if you trade GJBN trades, I mean, this trade this morning, to get the 10, I think it was 12 pips I secured at. It took me, I think, what, 3-4 minutes? And on good old UJ there, that's going to take you half a day. Price might break that consolidation and pull and retest its over consolidation. Exactly. That is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something like this. Up to the top of the consolidation, breakthrough, close above, and then a continuation bullish. And that's where you can start scaling into some buy positions, you know, either at this point over here, break of this high, again the retest. Buying up here is obviously going to be quite risky because it's at a much higher price point. But these are the ideal buys at the lows of the pullbacks, because then you're buying at support in an uptrending market. That's how you need to think of buying at support. You want to sell at resistance in a downtrending market. When people tell me buy at support and sell at resistance and it's in counter trend markets, what's going to happen is you're going to sell at resistance. You're going to come down a little bit, so it's going to look something like, let me try to explain it. It's going to look something like this. So now you're in an uptrending market. You want to sell at this resistance because you formed here. You're going to come down a little bit, just create a new high because you're in an uptrending market. That's how trends work. So you want to be selling at that resistance in a market like this. Now let's say you come up to that resistance level. Now it's a good level to sell at because you're in a downtrending market. You've created your previous resistance level at this point. Now you've created resistance level at that exact same area. Now you can form minor support, take sales back down to the low, create new lows. So yeah, don't listen to anyone if they just tell you sell it, resistance, and buy at support. Let them explain it to you, and then you can tell if they know what they're doing or not. Yeah, so basically what you want to see is a candle close above here, and then a rejection of this area. So let's say you get a couple rejection wicks coming down here, then we start forming some bullish candles, start getting some bullish momentum. There's a very good chance we can continue bullish. At that point as well, like I think I've explained a couple times in this, if this is our low, this is a point which created the low. If we're currently bearish in market structure, this is going to be the point that we flip bullish in market structure. So now we have another confluence on our side. Trading is all about confluences and probabilities. And the more confluences we have, the higher the probability that the trade is going to work out. So you just need to think about confluences and probabilities that way. Exactly what I'm looking for here. You just want to see you want to see proof that price doesn't want to be in this consolidation anymore, and that's going to come either in the form of a break and retest, or a break, and then this is more or less your retest, these rejection wicks, and then you're going to get a push bullish. It can come in so many forms, and the hard part about trading is you can see it before it happens and you can see it after it happens, but being able to execute while it's happening is the hard part of trading. And that's what some people just can't manage to ever visualize or ever have the courage to, you know, execute. Because what could start happening is we close above and then we start doing this again. And now people are trying to take buys because now we're rejecting this zone. And then eventually we get that push, and then they say, how do you know that that was the push? And that's where your candle confirmations on the lower time frames come into play. And, you know, that's where you got to have a full understanding of not just, you know, this break and retest or zones. You need to have a full understanding of a lot of things. And that's why it's important to know all your entry types as well, guys. You got to have a few entry types. You can't just have one entry type and say, okay, I'm only going to trade when I see that exact setup, because you'll be waiting all day. I think I have 4 or 5 entry types, which I also teach to the members. And I know I was going over a few with Zeems last night, and he was in, like, finally starting to see, you know, type D. So it's type A, B, C, and D, and then a delay type B. This was almost like a type D, but the fake out was another confluence as well, added confirmation. Again, guys, confluences is a huge thing. Now, if you wanted to look for something that not a lot of people look at, it's candle formations. So something that's telltale about this sort of candle, forget about the range, forget about structure, all that stuff. But we form support after this strong bearish candle, but this low of this candle respected the low of the previous candle. Now what that tells us is that obviously now the seller's pressure is lessening and the buyer's pressure is obviously coming through. The seller's pressure is going down so much so that we couldn't even break the low of the previous candle. And then we close strong bullish, and that indicates that there's a lot of buyers in the market, or a lot of buyers coming into the market. This was also literally the pre-London candle. This was London open here, 10 o'clock. You can see the volume size was a lot more than, look at these little candles over here. That's why you don't want to get caught up in this problem. And this is basically, like, again, I had a session with Zeems last night, and this is like, people who try to trade this get basically caught up in a washing machine. They get thrown around. One moment they're in profits, the next they're in loss. And they have no idea how to, you know, get out of it. You can't tell when you're going to get out of this, because it's just consolidation. It's ranging, price is ranging. So don't even try to trade in those areas. I see you sent another chart, James. Let me take a look. Yeah, so this on GU, but I did just do a GU market breakdown just now, and I had a 4VO bearish structure. So I will have to go over that with you again, because I think that means you're doing something on the... So you got the bearish right on the daily, and you got the bearish right on the 30, but the 4 hour on the weekly. Because remember, weekly you look at the previous week, and the previous week on the weekly, not the current week. You look at the previous week, and that was bearish. I'll show you here. So you had the weekly as bullish, but that's the current week's candle. You need to look at the previous week's candle, bearish. But yeah, I like you say there, GU was difficult. It was difficult, especially if you're just learning how to properly identify structure. We have about another half an hour, guys. I don't see much happening, to be honest. This could be another fake out of this range on gold. GJ is coming up nicely. If you were in the GJ buys, congratulations. Nice buys, to be honest. We're looking for the potential continuation above the 150 5-6 level. I'll say my analysis, but it's so different to your guys. It's fine. Anything is welcome. Like I said, there's not one correct way of trading. There's hundreds of correct ways of trading. There's one correct way of psychologically trading though, and that's managing risk. You know, not over trading. That's the only thing that should stay consistent is trading psychology. When it comes to technicals and fundamentals, you can read it 1,000 different ways. There's no one correct way. And news-wise, again, yeah, guys, we have this heavy impact dollar news, which is at 5 p.m. today. And then we have the bond auction as well. And the oil inventories can also be quite high impact. Other than that, tomorrow, let's see what we got tomorrow. Unemployment claims, this usually moves gold a lot. Again, some bond auctions. Nothing. GJ, the great thing about GJ is it doesn't have a lot of news. So it's very technical based. CPI. Yeah, so basically another fake out of this range on gold. Not interested in taking any buys right now though, at all. Thanks, welcome back. So where you're wrong? Okay, so we'll have to go over that. Yeah, gold's looking terrible. Only thing I can think of is if you take it on the 1 hour time frame down to that level. This music is relaxing, yeah, it's quite nice. Dex is coming back to trading soon, he tells me, it seems. Crumb Hunter. Okay, so what could also be interesting about GJ is if we get a rejection at this, like the top of the range as well, and then we can maybe start pushing bearish again, and then it's going to end up looking something like this, if these tools would work. And then we could start, you know, forming these lower lows, lower highs, and then we could, that's if we in the situation where we're going to have bearish continuation. But personally, me, I want to see some buys above this level. Looking at the daily, I've created a bottom wick on the daily candle. So now if we flip bullish, we can maybe fill this daily wick, which was yesterday's bearish push down. When's our marathon? I don't know if they're having the marathon this year. Depends about, depends COVID. We might be maybe April, but you're not coming to Cape Town anymore, so I don't know. Depends on you. You get a new chair. This one's broken. Yeah, gold's looking terrible, guys. I'd stay far, far away from it. Unless we get a bullish flip on the daily and then start closing above this level, and then the buys at that level make a lot more sense. And a new PC. What you getting a new PC? Okay, we got about 23 minutes or so. Don't know how to send it. You need to copy the link. So top right, you click on this. Copy link to chart image, and then you paste that straight into the Telegram chat, and then it will come up there, and then I'll be able to open it up and bring it onto the stream. Unless you, yeah, to post it into the YouTube chat's a lot harder. Okay, there's a little icon of a camera in the top right. Click on that once you have your chart, and then click on copy link address. It's in the top right of TradingView, and then from there you can send the chart into the Telegram. I hope that helps. Please remember to leave a like as well, guys. Like, sub. And join the free Telegram if you want. And follow the Instagram as well. Gotta plug everything. It's all in the description. Took some great GJ buys this morning from the lows here. Probably gonna retest the high of this range. And then if we break above 150, 567, have a bit of a push up there, come back down, and then take some more buys up to the top. That's what the idea is. Nothing too tricky, nothing too complicated. Top football highlights, thank you for the subscription. Let me check this out for you. I'm gonna try see as much. Let's try understand as much of it as I can, because I know you said you are institutional. So this is gold, eh? Yeah. So you're looking to take a sell, I'm assuming, at the top once we get here. So I'm assuming this is going to be like a sell limit. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, so with me taking sells at highs, that's what I was talking about earlier. Taking sells at highs of an uptrending market it's risky. So taking a sell at the high is nice. It's always what you want to do. But in a downtrending market. So like I explained earlier, let me just. So if we're uptrending and now you want to sell at this point, there's nothing stopping us from doing this. We can come down nicely. You can think, okay, this is going well. We come to this point of support, which is the point in which structure will flip bearish if we close below it. But now let's say we don't close below it. And that was just a little micro trend. And now we come back up and we start creating new highs. That's my only issue with taking sells at the highs in an uptrending market. Otherwise, what I think is perfect is if you take sells at the highs in the downtrending market. So something like this. So now we come back up to this level up here. Or even like this, and we come back up to this level. Now we're at a point of resistance, and it's at the high, basically. And then when we start forming some resistance and some minor support, you know, a lot of the buyers, I'll show you where all the buyers are going to be getting in. So now you can see here, we got this high and low. And this was I explained this in the gold breakdown, which I did on the Instagram. We have a high low. All the buyers are thinking now, this is amazing, you know. We got the high low. Let's hop on board. We're going to be able to take the lowest possible, the sells at the lowest possible, buys at the lowest possible point. Then we come back up a little bit in profits. We create another high low. They're adding positions, and then we have this lower high, start coming back down. And this is areas where we're looking to actually sell it because we're in the downtrending market. You know, areas of retest, break of lows to create new lows. This is the area of support, break through that support. So you just got to be careful of that. But again, I'm not an institutional trader, so I'm not gonna say your analysis is wrong because I have no idea, you know, institutionally if that's right or wrong. That's just how I perceive the market. I want to trade on the right side of the trend. So you'll only see me buying in buyer's market or selling in a seller's market. And I base that off of 4 key time frames. Weekly, daily, 4 hour, 30 minutes on pairs, or 30 minutes on GJ, which is the pair I trade, and then 1 hour on gold. Because gold's 30-minute flips so frequently in structure that it's quite hard to gauge a strong structural bias out of it. But if this thing comes crashing down and you hit your TP, you can send it through to me and say, I told you so. G is also coming down. Let's see what we got candle-wise here. G is very bearish in market structure. We also need to remember that. So, the pound at the moment, well, I'm assuming the dollar is quite strong. Because if gold goes down and pound USD goes down, it means that the dollar is either strong or the pound's weak. But why I don't think that the pound's very weak is because, you know, we had this strong move up here. So either then the yen's maintaining its strength, which it always does, or the pound's gaining some strength. But if the pound's gaining some strength, we wouldn't be going down on GU unless the dollar's gaining some strength. More strength than the pound is. So that's how you kind of got to link up the different pairs. So any news today? There is some USD news. Let me just go back to it. Yeah, so we have job openings, high impact. They are forecasting better numbers than previously, which is probably a good thing. It means that there's a good chance that if it is good numbers and there are more jobs available and job openings, the dollar is going to strengthen and gold will come down. But these forecasts, I've seen them be horrifically wrong before. So you need to be careful with the forecasts. Then crude oil inventories, medium impact news, more on the high side. So yeah, this I've always seen never makes a huge difference. So yeah, that's that. Pound yen, the yen news was all low impact news. I think tomorrow we have unemployment claims. Now this usually moves things a lot, and they're expecting less unemployment claims than previously. So what that means is that less people are filing for unemployment, and that's good for the currency, good for the dollar, good for the country. So that means as well, if those numbers are correct and the forecasts are correct, that the dollar is going to strengthen, and that means gold's going to come down. Same as pound, USD is probably going to come down. Then there's also, again, this in the past hasn't made any significant moves. So yeah, you shouldn't be too concerned about that. And then on the 10th, CPI, this is usually very high impact, so you just need to be careful of that. So I'd say at the moment, a lot of the news is looking good for the US dollar. And that's just fundamental wise. Let me send last analysis. Let me check that out for you. Okay. You got your gold. So this zone here is correct. Obviously this zone here is correct. This is your safest buying zone possible at this 1815 level. Just because you look at that huge move that we had down, eventually we're going to correct that up. We're quite a long way away from that. And remember, 1800 is a very strong key level. So normally we bounce around a lot in that area, so you just need to be aware of that. These saddling zones I do like. This one's a little bit small, the 1785 region. But this one I do agree with, the 1775. You got a 3v1 market structure bias. I'm not actually too sure what it is. Let me check it out. Yeah, so selling yeah, so market structure is bearish, daily market structure is bullish. We need to remember that. What's up, Sharif? How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. So this is our high ZMs. This is the low which created the high. We didn't get a close below that low, remember, so we're bullish in market structure on that level. What we want to do now is remember that, okay, if we're bullish in market structure currently and we're going to get a flip below that level, that's going to be the level that our daily structure flips bearish. So we bullish on the daily, bearish on the weekly. The 4 hours a bit tougher because this is our low over here, and this is the area which created the low up here at this level. So again, we're bearish on the 4 hours. So I think you had that marked in as bearish. So at the moment it's a 2v1. Then on the 1 hour we are currently, I think we're bullish. We have this as our high up here. This is the leg that created the high, so we're going to be bearish below that level. So at the moment we're bullish in market structure. So at the moment it is a 2v2, so buys and sells can both play out, if that makes sense. So I think you had here, let me see, the only area that you had incorrectly marked out was daily. You had the daily as bearish, but the daily is bullish. And remember, that is because we had our high up here, area which created the high. You mark out the low of that wick. We didn't get a close below that low, so therefore we're bullish until we close below that area. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that made sense to you, Zins. I hope it did. Focused on the low of the daily. Yeah, you see, you got to take the, remember, the highest or the lowest point. And if you're not sure, take the highest one or the lowest one and then look for 2 transitions in structure, and then you know that you've got the latest one at least. That way. It made sense, I'm glad to hear. So yeah, 2v2 structure on gold, buyers and sellers. We have this fundamental news coming in today at 5 p.m. This job openings. If we get some good numbers for the job openings, there's a good chance gold is going to come down, because then the US dollar is going to strengthen. So if you want to play it safe, wait for that. Otherwise, I'm looking for mainly buys above this area up here, 1794, because then we got this to the left, some nice clean traffic to trade into. And I will look for sells most likely below this area over here. I'm not too interested in the current range that we're in and just below it or just above it. It's, if you want to trade just above this, this is all you got to trade into. Wicks, rejection wicks. You never want to be trading into rejection wicks. Same as the bottom here. You got this tiny range to trade into. Rather wait for a big move to happen. And then even if you do get an impulse move down here, let's say now we get an impulse to correct this move up, what we can do then is find an area which was once support and then let it form into resistance. Now we'll be trending down, it'll be bearish in market structure, and then we will do something like that and retest the low and then maybe even create new lows. So rather, if the markets are not showing bid price action and not showing the moves that you want to see, wait for a big move to form, and then if it's creating a new high, wait for it to come back down, print that pullback, and then retest the high, and if it's a low, same thing, retest the low. So yeah. We have about 10 minutes or so left, guys, so if you do have any more questions, please let me know. Otherwise, yeah, please remember to leave a like on the stream. Again, gold is just not it at the moment. GJ is looking much cleaner. We are still stuck in this range, however, so let's wait for us to either break out of the range, or we can now adjust our zone over here. Because that's the thing about when you mark out your zones, you got to keep them up to date. So now we created a new low support, so we're going to mark that out, because from the left here, this is, again, on the lower time frames, it's going to be not such clear traffic, but we should break through the support level at a high volume time. But ideally looking for buys above this level. So yeah, we're either going to continue bullish above 150.567, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us our structure flip above this level over here, and then buys are just going to make so much more sense. So that's what I'll be looking for if we want to continue with the buys. But that'll probably be during New York, to be honest, New York session. Because we've had a lot of the London volume now. We had the strong 20 plus minus 25 pips move, you know. So let's just wait it out a little bit. If you guys have any more pairs you want me to check out, or any more charts you want me to check out, let me know. GU I don't trade. See, so on gold, you could take aggressive impulse entries down to this level over here, 1783. But that's definitely, if you wait for a candle close below this level, the range is just not going to be enough. That if you take the sell at the low of the candle close, so below the support level, the range isn't going to be enough to take the sells into that level. So that's why, you know, trading below 1782 is going to be a lot safer, because look at this clean trading range that we have. It's a lot better than this small range that we have over here. So I mean, here we have 20 pips, whereas over at this level it's about 80 pips. So this way we can wait for a candle close, wait for the candle confirmations, candle formations, structure flip as well. It's going to be a lot safer than trying to take impulses down into the 1783 level. Same as the buys. Don't want to be buying into this. Very, very risky area. But let's see what's going to transpire on GJ as well. I'm quite interested, because if we respect the top of this range and then start coming back down again, start respecting highs of bullish candles, and then start forming some minor support, we could come straight back down to the bottom. And I mean, honestly, then sells to the bottom are still not off the table, because we still do have that bearish market structure on the 30-minute. If I do an overall market structure breakdown, we have bearish weekly market structure, bullish daily, remember the sell high. This was the area which created the high over here, and we didn't get the candle close below that just yet. Then we had the 4 hour, which this is the low, this is the point which created it, so bullish market structure here, so bearish, bullish, bullish, and then bearish on this, so 2v2, buys or sells can both play out, which is why if we do form some resistance up here and some minor support within the resistance, I wouldn't be too opposed against sells back down to the lows, and then maybe continuation bearish. But that's if you are willing to trade like a 2v2 structure buyers, because then, you know, not one is not more confirmed than the other. You want to wait, if you're just going to trade the safest possible setups, you want to wait for a 3v1 of some sort. So in that situation, you would wait for the buys above here. You would wait for a candle close above this level, and then buys are more likely to play out. Problem is on the bearish, with the bearish structure, you're only going to get a 4 hour structure flip below this point down here, unless we create a new low. Then it's going to be over here. Do you trade Nasdaq? I used to trade Nasdaq a lot, and I had a lot of success trading Nasdaq. But it's too choppy, and you know, price action on Nasdaq's a lot harder to read. So I kind of stopped. So you're waiting to get in for a buy for GJ, correct? I am waiting. I already took a buy on GJ from the lows here based on the fake out. What I'm looking for on GJ, if I want to continue with the buys, is for a candle close above here. So basically what it will look like is this. We'll go up here, candle close. Now we're going to be bullish in market structure. When we come back down to this level, we'll retest it, form some support, form some resistance. I'll be taking buys back up to the top and to create those new highs. So I'll take buys above this level over here. And by doing that, you're buying at the lowest possible point in an uptrending market. Remember, that's what you want to do. Buy basically at support in an uptrending market. So buys will be taken above that point over there. Wait for that minor support, minor resistance, and then you can scale in on the way up if this is all clear candles to the left. Just be a little bit careful. Got you? Sure. Hopefully that made sense to anyone else planning on taking GJ buys. Just wait for that initial push to happen. I don't really want to be involved in the initial breakout, because the initial breakout, you never know when the exhaustion is going to come. So you're a lot safer waiting for the pullback once you create the new high. So then we'll have something which looks like this. which is basically going to be bullish candles, some bearish candles coming down. We've created this high over here, and then we've created our support. Once you have that set up, the possibilities are insane. You know, you have a lot more probabilities for the buys. You're buying at a lower price rather than trying to take buys up here, up here, up here, and then you have to hold this drawdown and not even be sure if you're going to retest the highs. So that's a problem with taking late impulse entries. Just something to think about. Sells below this current level here, guys, are also looking pretty bad. This price action over here is not great. So you're going to want to be careful of that. It is still classified as like clean candles because it's all the same color. But if you drop down to lower time frames, going to be a lot of supports you're going to find in there. Yeah, all these support levels. All possible areas of rejection. So just be careful of that. Got about 3 minutes left. So again, any questions, let me know. Now we have formed this resistance on the 30 minutes. Obviously, this could just be some exhaustion from the strong bullish push which we had. ZMC is saying sells. What I would do in this situation is obviously I've taken a trade already, so I'm not going to be looking for sells at this point. But what you can do and look within this 30-minute candle, so this would basically be your type D. You can look and see, okay, have we formed any support within this resistance? So not on the 15-minute, and on the 5-minute we formed up here, right? So what I would want to wait for is some 5-minute support to form. So if this candle forms some 5-minute support, then we can maybe start coming down, because then basically what that's going to do is it's going to give you a top wick on the new candle, so a top wick on this new 30-minute, and then the break of the low. So that's going to be your confirmation that we could take it back down to the lows. But I will not be taking that sell. I've already taken a trade today, so I'd rather wait for New York. Also London, this could just be exhaustion after London, like London open. So just be wary of this. It is essentially, there's no market bias. We're not in a buyer's or a seller's market. It's 2v2 at the moment. So buyers and sellers can both play out. But what you can look at is, you know, we're essentially rejecting the same areas over and over and over again. So that's not to say that we can't continue bearish and then retest this low and then come up later. That's the problem with being stuck in the range. But remember, being stuck in a range and taking trades in a range is like being chucked in the washing machine. You're going to be in profits, loss, similar to the situation right here. So you can see almost this is the exact same thing. This is how repetitive price can be. So we had this over here where we had a strong bearish push, respected the low, formed some resistance within the support, and you see we retested the top. So again, that's happening. Strong bearish push, respected the low, formed some resistance in there. This was where my initial position was taken. I took buys from this area over here to retest the top of the range, because this was also a fake out. Closed below, closed back in, went back up to the top of the range. Now we're more or less doing the same thing. We're forming this resistance, and then if you find some support form within that resistance, just take it back down to the bottom of the range. That's what a range essentially is. The problem when you range and you start doing things like that is when you get these sort of issues, where prices just, there's no volume in the candles, you're chopping up and down. So yeah, if you're a safe trader, I wouldn't advise taking sells to the bottom of the range. But if you're more of a cowboy and this is your sort of thing, go for it. There's not really much reason why it shouldn't play out, because we've seen it happen in this range before. What you obviously need to add to that is how much trading range do we have here? 20 plus pips, so it's not bad. Crumb hunter, exactly. You don't want to be taking the last little bits of the trade. So yeah, just be careful in this. The sells make sense, remember that, but it's also, okay, if you haven't taken a trade today, if I hadn't taken a trade today, this is probably something I would definitely be looking to get involved in, but you just need to remember this range. Like, this is just choppy price action, and we're in the same price area, so there's nothing to say price isn't going to act like that again. Entries, if you were to take the sells at this point, would be at the break of this low. Your stop loss is going to be above this candle, or if you want to play it safer, or not safer, but you want to put a bit more risk on the table, your stop loss is going to be above the previous 15-minute candle, previous 15-minute high. And then your TP is obviously going to be all the way down here, and you're obviously going to want to secure it along the way, 10 pips, 15 pips, 20 pips, around there. Your extra confirmation for this sell is you have this candle's high and the resistance candle is respecting the high of that candle. So just remember that. Please guys, if you haven't, like the stream, and if you are interested in like learning more about this style of trading, price action trading, trading clean candles, there's a free Telegram in the description, and follow the Instagram, it's in the description as well. Your position would look something like this if you are going to take this sell. And then obviously hoping to secure along the way down. But I'm not in this sell. I took this buy up earlier. Tiny stop loss, so you won't have much risk, but that's why, because it hasn't formed really a major stop loss point, you could have your stop loss above the previous 15-minute high. And that's going to give you about an 8.5 pip stop loss. And then you can play it out from that point. And then still, TP down at this level, I would be looking to secure some profits at about this point here. And then, you know, as you start going down, that can be where you look for, you know, 10, 12, 13 pips. But yeah, not a trade I'm taking, but if any of you are taking it, good luck. Remember to manage risk. If your stop loss is above this point and you come back to this point, please do close half. Take some risk off of the table. If you have, let's just say for argument's sake, a one lot open, close 0.5. Takes a lot of risk away. If the sell does play out, that'll be awesome. And yeah, I appreciate all of you guys for coming through to the stream today. Have an amazing day. Trade safely, and I'll be live same time tomorrow, so it's 9:30 South African time, 7:30 GMT. Not too sure what time it is Eastern in America, probably very late at night, but yeah, thanks for the stream guys, I do appreciate it a lot, and I'll catch you guys same time tomorrow. And anyone on the Telegram group, we will carry on chatting about possible trade entries and that sort of thing, and please do send charts throughout the day. So yeah, thanks very much guys, have a great day.